The Coinsaurus channel is pleased to have you back. Hey there, it's Matt from the Moon Lumbo channel. You might recall when the SEC started attacking Ripple and the XRP community. One of the first people to notice that this wasn't simply an assault on Ripple was attorney John Deaton. After that, I believe this was his most significant warning to the crypto community. Anyone can participate, not just XRP holders. The impact on the entire crypto asset class was something that attorney Deaton saw a few years ago. Yeah, that's exactly right, and pretty much everyone has realized it by now. Nevertheless, this scenario also presents an additional risk. Surprisingly, about 20% of senators in the US are in favor of outright banning cryptocurrencies. Here you can find some information that attorney John Deaton has shared with you. Amazing, because influential individuals are trying to restrict your freedom and stop you from investing in Bitcoin, an asset class that could change your life financially. Not that they plan to limit themselves to preventing opportunities for the established players in legacy finance, rather, they aim to take advantage of every single one of those opportunities. But for the time being, they will be content if they can get rid of you entirely or at least drastically reduce your involvement. But that's a pretty neat way it works. It is as simple as that. You also have this item from today that enumerates the top 5 lawyers along with his predictions for 2024. They are sound, and he is probably spot on. Before I begin, let me clarify that I do not hail from any kind of financially secure family. My financial advice is not gospel. Also, you can't utilize what I say or write to get into any kind of business transaction. I am simply an enthusiast who enjoys making movies on YouTube about crypto for fun and as a hobby. Just give me a moment to set the table for you. This article was published about a week ago in Bitcoin magazine, which occasionally publishes such stories. Nonetheless, the title states that U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren has submitted a measure to restrict Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and the Nasdaq website shared it. The question of whether Senator Elizabeth Warren is the worst senator is, in my opinion, up to debate. Is anyone paying attention to what you have to say at the moment? If that's the case, then explain it underneath. Listening to the sorrowful is something I will always want to do. I count her among the worst, if not the worst, when it comes to her contradictory attacks on cryptocurrency. Also, I still have my doubts about her belief in her own argument. I am not convinced by that. My first impression of her is that she is quite dishonest. Whatever you choose to call it, peace, or anything else, it reads like this. Senator Elizabeth Warren of the United States introduced the bill today in response to her concerns regarding the possible criminal use of digital currency. The drug trade, sanctions, money laundering, and tax evasion are among the many illegal acts mentioned. Because no one outside of the XRP community cares about it, isn't that enough? There are penalties in Asia and the moneylender. Isn't that our plan? I am so irritated by the fact that people are still arguing over this in 2023, despite abundant evidence to the contrary. It's crazy, you guys. Saying grind my gears down to 1 gear, grinding anyway would be the standard response when you're down to 1 gear. The ceasefire has not yet been terminated. More regulation and supervision of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies is greatly advanced by the measure, which has the support of a coalition inside the banking committee. This is due to the fact that these assets are not without their risks, and Senator Warren has made no secret of the fact that criminals utilize digital currencies. I would greatly appreciate it if you could save these cheers for Elizabeth. Please continue to keep us all safe. Putting on my shirt first thing in the morning would be a whole mystery to me if you weren't here. Here is a quote she provided. The Treasury Department has brought attention to the fact that criminal organizations, terrorist groups, rogue states, drug lords, ransomware gangs, and fraudsters use cryptocurrencies to hide their identities, evade sanctions, fund illicit weapon programs, and profit from devastating cyber attacks. As a result, new legislation is needed to tackle this problem. I commend the 5 newly elected senators, 3 of whom serve on the banking committee, for rising to the challenge and requiring results. There isn't a more strict plan than our bipartisan bill to limit illicit cryptos usage and provide authorities more enforcement authority. Also, it's hilarious that they'd rather do rid of the technology than penalize the people who abuse it. Envision how drastically our lives would change if she could do anything she pleased. Take into consideration a scenario in which her work rendered the internet obsolete. There will simply be no access to the internet. Not at all. We keep all of our data confidential. This is obviously the way to go about it. I am extremely grateful for absolutely nothing. Here we have an article by Ryan Salukas, who, although he has now altered his tune and is starting to see things from Ripple's and XRP investors' points of view, is, to put it gently, at odds with the SEC on any regulatory conundrum. Sure, I get it. Earlier today, he shared this post. He went on to say that if anyone in the US underestimates Senator Warren's strength, she might bring crypto to its knees. We will continue to fight for our employment regardless of whether her name is on the most likely final bill. Since this is a generalized assault on all people, keep in mind that anyone can work in the accrediting field. His goal is to see the industry go out of business. Please pay close attention, this is a helpful reminder. Therefore, just eliminate all jobs, everyone is involved in that somehow. There are also listeners like you, who play an important part in the cryptocurrency market but aren't active in the sector itself. Rather, we are holders, speculators, or both. She has made sure that there will be no more chances for significant personal development, even if there have always been enough. The intervention of Attorney Deaton occurs now. Having expressed his complete agreement, he reposted the message. Regarding the identical matter, he is also raising the same red flag. No matter how you feel about her chances of success, we must not ignore the serious threats she represents. So, I'm doing what I can to spread the word, just like a lot of other people in the crypto business, including XRP community members. Consequently, 20% of the US Senate has shown their agreement with Attorney Deaton's de facto ban on Bitcoin in the US. I firmly believe that by running for re-election, she is trying to control the narrative surrounding cryptocurrency. She is, to state the obvious, the biggest threat to American freedom. You are absolutely right, and the lawyer was also absolutely right. After that, you might have come across this video. Consequently, this took place earlier this month. This is that, I believe it was a congressional hearing, JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon said in the video. This was published on December 6, by the way, but he insisted that bringing up crypto was pointless. The only people who would benefit from it are those who engage in illicit operations like drug trading, money laundering, or tax avoidance. Inquiring minds want to know, does Ripples know about that? Jyotsana, do you recall these tap jets? This amicus brief in the SEC versus Ripple case outlined the answer to the Friday night difficulty of transferring funds for charter jets. When conventional financial institutions were off the clock for the weekend, their present behavior isn't helping their clients transfer value in a way that wasn't possible previously, and they should know better. Is Jamie Dimon's belief that cryptocurrency is mostly useful for criminals, drug dealers, money launderers, and tax evaders true? How deceitful are these individuals? Such dishonest people. Therefore, I'm sorry, but today is not going to happen. Just recently, Attorney Deaton published it alongside this comment. Okay, I'll have to look into it. Jamie Dimon provides Elizabeth Warren with all the details she desires regarding her attack on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. She introduces a bill that will make Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies illegal in the US at the same time. Warren's timing is impeccable. Warren and Jamie Dimon are on good terms currently. Take note of how Elizabeth Warren steered the conversation away from asking Jamie Dimon about the $39 billion penalty. Did someone pay JP Morgan to commit fraud and break the law? Dean, the lawyer, is serious. The truth is, I can provide you with a headline. It has been known for a long time that this one is by Joyce. The following is the Daily Huddle headline, albeit I have already covered this on my channel. Sunday, August 8, 2023. In anticipation of fresh SEC enforcement actions, JP Morgan Chase has already forked over around $39 billion to LCS in penalties for violations involving banking securities and other offenses. They appear intent on willfully breaking the law in order to avoid prosecution, guys. Maybe they'll get away with most of their transgressions and just have to pay a reduced fee for the one that got them in trouble, as long as it brought an X amount of money. Sure thing. We can figure it out. There has been a breach of the law by them. The governor receives a tiny penalty equal to a portion of these enormous gains. The choice is yours. Yay. These cretins have the nerve to whine about cryptocurrency's ill-gotten gains. Next, we need to know what's going to happen. You released an article about a famous lawyer named CES and his predictions for 2024 today. I won't bother reading the piece since I'll skip the introduction and get right to the topic. However, the official Ripple account on X social media site spread the opinion. This was written by Stuart Burrity, who is the chief legal officer of Ripple. When 2024 rolls around, he'll have 3 points and the SEC's foolish case against Ripple will have been resolved. However, the SEC will continue its campaign of regulation through enforcement, and more market heavyweights will be its targets. Only the judges serving as second-in-command can prevent the SEC from abusing its power. And the SEC will continue to lose high-profile cases in court, setting the stage for a potential clash with the Supreme Court. Finally, I'd like to note that I was already mentioning this previously. When XRP was not yet officially recognized as a legal tender, it is legitimate to have a good view for July since the US is not a banana republic. A lot of people think we should have heard something by now, because this judge is really dubious and will probably rule poorly. The thought that she would have been queen at this point was absurd to me. It was completely illogical. Despite our best efforts and the existence of the rule, it proved to be ineffective. I did say that the American justice system isn't perfect, but that it comes very near to doing what's fair most of the time. Problems can arise in any system. It is undeniable that injustice has been done. Nonetheless, bribes are uncommon when cases reach the judges. The judge is usually behaving honestly. They find this problematic because the SEC has such a high degree of overreach. There is no mistaking it. Because of that, I feel optimistic. That the SEC was so pleased with its record going into 2023 is now clear. We haven't lost any money, no. The fact that their egos have become so large this year is the main reason. The SEC is experiencing a justified downpour following what appears to be an endless series of defeats. I am very grateful to this legal system, with the judges looking on. Therefore, the last line of defense is ideal. Another option is to stand in a steel suit. Having said that, I will argue that it is reasonable to have that level of certainty. Consequently, I am still very optimistic, generally speaking. That is, during the lifetime of this entire asset class. In my opinion, that's the way to go. Stay alert and spread the message. Nonetheless, I truly mean what I say. All crypto aficionados should be aware of this. We must put a halt to their unacceptable overreach. Last but not least, in the third argument, he asserts that crypto businesses will fall behind the rest of the globe in terms of progress since Congress will theoretically agree on crypto legislation but differ on how to put it into practice. Yeah. Well, that's it. Personally, I think it's more of the same, therefore I concur with him. On top of that, the US is clearly falling behind other crypto innovation-focused countries. As a patriotic American, I must admit that it is a major letdown for me. You could be thinking, fair enough, because I know that approximately 50% of my readers are from the United States. I understand. Well, here is where I call home. I would like not to see this as well. Wow, the adoption process here pales in comparison to the United States, an economic behemoth. A lot of clout is at stake, and it's not just in politics. The world's most powerful people also tend to be very financially astute. But I just got this thought of the technology that happens here first. I just think it would have a lot of people on its side in various situations. Even now, I don't understand it. Because of the flight, everyone is postponing their plans until they can find out how to leave the US. This is understandable given the current situation. When does it happen? The next question is, From an amplification perspective, which technologies should we prioritize improving? How does it look when put into practice? I sit here and wonder aloud how disastrous this asset class has been. That's what I'm trying to express. And it's not going anywhere, either. That is not going away, it is here to stay. How bad is the setback, exactly? The bright side is that this chance will still be open until the very end of 2023. Our community of XRP and other cryptocurrency holders will continue to exist far into the future, in the year 2023. As more and more people are going to invest in this asset class, we have managed to outweed almost every financial institution on the planet. Though I will continue to bring this up, that is settled. More causes than reasons to be negative weigh on my mind. For instance, I have faith that we will complete all of the necessary tasks, and I perceive tremendous potential in this area, especially by the end of 2023, when we will have outperformed almost all of our competitors. A pioneering effort. No, that's not right. In most cases, the first to go are the institutions. We can now out-institutionalize the institutions, thanks to the recent dramatic increase in pricing. The common person can get in when prices pop since there are initial public offerings, IPOs, for different companies. That is just incredible. Though I would prefer to dwell on the negative and be pessimistic, I can't deny that my perspective is still more hopeful than negative. That this isn't bad news just for XRP was something you brought out right at the start of the SEC v Ripple lawsuit is, in my opinion, Attorney Deaton's most important warning. I made that statement at the opening of the movie for that same reason. Even if this is bad news for XRP holders, the SEC has achieved its goals. This has the potential to bring down the entire asset class. It is really staring us in the face. Please do not trust me with your money because I am not qualified to advise you on financial matters. Do me a favor and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye for now.